There are, of course, political forces in the United States, represented by Donald Trump, that want to have a confrontation with China. Uh, these are people in the United States that are afraid of China's success and believe in the dominance of the United States in the international system. But most of the people in the world do not want a Cold War, and a Cold War would be very dangerous. We went through a Cold War that was a terrible experience for mankind. So Trump is very misguided. The idea that China's success is somehow adverse to US interests is very naive. We don't want a world where success of countries is blocked by other countries. That would be a world of conflict and a very dangerous one. China's success is part of a global success. And in this sense, we shouldn't think of a zero-sum struggle as Trump seems to do. We should think about mutual gain, win-win cooperation. And therefore, Secretary General Guterres is completely correct. We want to avoid the Cold War at all costs. A lot depends on the US election, obviously, because Trump does not speak for most Americans. Trump speaks for a minority of Americans, more right-wing, more nationalistic, more conservative, more anti-China. But most Americans do not want a Cold War. And if Trump is defeated in November, I think the situation will become far better and less tense. Of course, there will still be challenges in the international relations of the two biggest economies in the world. There will be points to negotiate. There will be differences. There will be competition. But during President Obama's term, though there were frictions, there was also considerable cooperation in many areas, such as climate change, such as the need to change the world energy system, such as the cooperation to find a peaceful approach to Iran, and so on. Trump stopped that cooperation. If Trump is defeated, I think we have a chance to restore that cooperation. I believe most Americans are in favor of a globally cooperative approach, not this kind of hostility. But we should recognize that there are hardline nationalists in the United States. I believe they are wrong. They do not understand history. They do not understand China. They do not understand America's best interests, but they exist as a political force. If Trump gets reelected, I think the United States will be, unfortunately, a divisive country in the international scene. But the world has 193 countries in the United Nations. The United States is just one of them. It has about 4% of the world population, so it's by no means a representative of the world. Trump would try to make an alliance of other countries against China, actually. But the fact of the matter is China has lots of friends, and if China's diplomacy is cooperative globally, if China's diplomacy is in favor of the multilateral system, if China's diplomacy is addressing global crises like COVID-19 or climate change, China will have a lot of countries that will work very constructively together to solve global problems. And in this sense, if Trump is reelected, I believe it's more dangerous for the world. But I also believe that the best response for China is not to be provoked by Trump, but in a way to work with all other countries so that even though Trump continues an anti-China campaign, that would not be the direction that the world as a whole would take, because most of the world, including most Americans, want cooperation. We want to see problems solved. We want a rational approach to our global politics. We do not believe, most of us, in America first, we believe in all countries thriving together. And even if Trump is reelected, which I very much hope not, the possibility for cooperation would remain, but it would be much more complicated. President Xi Jinping said at the UN General Assembly was very positive and very important. He explained China does not want a Cold War. China wants a shared future of humanity. And he made the very important commitment of China to decarbonize the energy system in China by the year 2060. This was a real breakthrough of global cooperation and very important for China. So not just a favor by China to the world, but a favor by China to China, because we need to stop the human-made climate change. And now that China is on a committed path to reach zero net emissions by 2060, this is a big benefit for China and for the world. So the statement was very constructive, and it was very notable that it came after a very nationalistic speech by Trump. What China was saying is, we're not going to engage in Cold War rhetoric. We are not going to engage in blaming other countries. We're going to engage in multilateralism, global cooperation, and problem solving. This approach is absolutely the correct approach. So I'm very eager to see these commitments built into the 14th plan and into the new nationally determined contribution by China in the Paris Agreement on climate, and other very practical venues in the G20, in the International Monetary Fund, in the General Assembly. It's a very constructive approach. The Chamber of Commerce plays a very important role. The point is that sometimes right-wing politicians like Trump stir up doubt or hatred or division or discord. But when we have person-to-person relations or business-to-business relations or academic partnerships, as I'm involved in for many, many years, we know our counterparts. We can tell the difference of propaganda and truth. We can understand our mutual interests. So I am strongly in favor of more intensified cooperative interactions in business, such as the China CGCC, the Chamber of Commerce initiatives. I'm very much in favor of cooperation between universities. I'm very much in favor of diplomatic relations, and believe that China and the United States at the government level should have ongoing, deep, serious, rational discussions of all points of common interest and of differences, rather than tweets and verbal attacks and propagandistic attacks, which are to no benefit for anybody. So I really applaud the CGCC for its efforts on dialogue, mutual understanding, and identifying the areas for common gain, shared purpose through cooperation.